Alrighty, today I want to show you how to fix a drip line that may have gotten separated from its connector, which is this little barb here. These can be in a T, an elbow, which is a 90 degree, like an L shaped, or this straight coupler. Basically, it's as simple as taking this and you're just going to press it in and you can actually work it in. Once you work it in, I'm not going to push it all the way in, but once you work this in all the way to where it's about right here, it's not going to want to pull out. Now, the way this does happen is if there is too much pressure on this line, it will want to pull out. When this hose gets warm, just from being in the heat under the ground, it gets a little bit more flexible. And so with that, you're going to run into the issue where if you have more pressure than what the system is designed for, it could separate. Not all the time does it, but it could. So anyways, if you're at home and you have a new install that you've had by somebody else, if you had it by us, we're going to make sure that everything is going to have a 25 psi drip regulator, pressure regulator on it, which would prevent all of this. Now, simply, you want to make sure that on these drip lines, if you have a drip line with drip emitters, and you'll notice this one does not actually have the emitters on it, it's what we call blank drip, you don't have to worry about the drip emitters. But let's say there was an emitter here, you want to make sure that if you do need to cut, one, you make sure you don't give yourself, you got to make sure you give yourself plenty of slack so you're not cutting it too short. But you want to make sure you don't cut into a drip regulator. But you would simply you can take scissors, some good scissors, and you would just cut it something like this. Same thing, it's as simple as that. You take your connector, work it in. Sometimes you'll have them on both sides, you'll work it together. As long as it's pretty close to this middle, it's going to hold pretty well. If you've got this set up on maybe a makeshift home setup, which is not regulated or recommended by the state of Texas with TCEQ, something we can't do. But if you wanted to do something like this at home, you would just make sure that you either put a regulator on your hose bib. This would prevent any mistakes of maybe you overturn, somebody that doesn't know how to do it would overturn the hose bib, because hose bibs can run, typically you can get anywhere from 12 to 30 psi, and there's really nothing that regulates it. But again, if you have a regulator on it, it'll prevent that. Now, the other option is you just turn your hose on 1/3 to half turn. This doesn't need a lot of water. It's meant to fill up, create just enough pressure to push itself through the emitters. But again, we would just recommend that you actually have this set up with a properly installed irrigation system with the proper backflows and the proper pressure regulators by a licensed irrigator. So, hope this helps.